Hey, crypto family. This is Crypto Brothers. And today I was going to go over a little bit of kind of technical analysis. I'm kind of starting to learn a little bit of this so that I can become a more informed investor. And I'm more than willing to pass whatever knowledge I can obtain myself on anybody that's willing to watch. So, no, this is not investment advice. Some dude talking about crypto on the internet, giving some advice, giving some like knowledge, not advice. With that being said, jump right on into it. And as you see, we're having a bit of a red day, and after a couple of days of us actually rallying positively, it's good to see a little bit of a cool off in the market. For a good rally, you're going to see the market cooled back down. And for some reason, that Ripple Nipple seems to be doing pretty good. Is this because of their test net that they're impending on launching soon? Actually, going to have a working network, and or is this kind of network, kind of market manipulation from some whales? We'll find out. It was weird to see them actually for a moment above Ethereum. Was that market manipulation too? Don't know. You'd almost have to sit there and take a look at like the top wallets and see how they were trading, making them pump up. Don't know. But whenever I was first recording this, Bitcoin was actually at 6,700. And it looks like it's still losing a little bit of ground. Not anything to cause concern. Like I said, after a good rally, you're gonna see a little bit of a cool off. Some people taking profits. Oh look, it's back at 6,700 as we speak. But a lot of the coins here have taken some pretty good profits in the last couple of days. So see it all kind of cool back down. I'm hoping that it just kind of cools back down and then rallies back up for the next leg of it. And whenever you're looking into the analysis end of it onto a trading view, paid membership, so they ads. But as you see, I've got this white lines drawn in here, drawing into a triangular pattern. But what I did kind of happen to notice is that the last few lows that we've had, each one of our lows, we've had higher lows. Problem is, we've also had lower highs each time to correlate with it, which is giving us more of like a little wedging pattern involved with the wedging pattern coming in. It's gonna squeeze itself and it's gonna break out more bearish or bullish. I'm kind of hoping bullish, not bearish. I hate to be losing more money in the market. I like to see more uptrends, but know that even the stock markets, they are there to basically separate you from your money. It's a gambling game, even in the regular stock market. The stock markets don't play any different than looking at the cryptos. Got to be kind of careful of how and when you're buying. So if you're watching it rally up, you don't want to be buying in them rallies. You want to be buying whenever it's going back down. But you also got to look at a few other implements on that too, which would be, is it being overly bought? Is it being overly sold? Looking at the RSIs, looking at the MACD. These few little tricks will help see where it is in the market. Is it sold? And then also kind of looking at market sentiment. Is everybody more positive? Is everybody more? I mean, right now, people are not very positive. They saw a little rally, so everybody's kind of positive, kind of looking, is this the end? Are we going to start trending more upward? We all are. We're all hoping it. But we'll have to see in the next couple of candles. See if this is going to be a relaxation after a good bull run. We're going to keep trending back up. Or is this the sign that it's just going to dump back down and everybody's shorting again? Find out. But going into that, go into my other section. news section, get into that. So this one, of course, is by CoinDesk, and I'm more of a miner myself. I'm not that great of an investor. I know when to look at the market and see a good buying opportunity, but I've got to teach myself how to look at the profitability. But being more of a mining person, I do both GPU mining and ASIC mining. But this one is from Ethereum group, actually. Momentum is building to block Ethereum ASICs because there's a few signs that there's going to be some major ASICs that are going to finally come out onto Ethereum's network. Ones that are going to put the current ASICs, which really aren't anything more than a efficient GPU rig. And they're going to be coming out with a much stronger ASIC that's going to just decimate all the GPU. It's going to just annihilate them. It's going to be useless to use GPU rigs once this ASIC comes out. I mean, it's not projected to come out anytime soon, but it's looking like they're going to come out next year with this. But when it does come out, it's going to be epic. I'm wondering, I haven't even read this article yet, but I'm wondering if this is their response to that. Dive into it. By Christine Kim. Several Ethereum miners and developers have come forward with the goal of stopping specialized mining hardware from effectively operating on the network. It's a good thing and a bad thing. Underway since April, the controversy surrounding application-specific integrated circuits, or ASICs, on Ethereum rose after the news broke last Thursday of a new line of specialized mining hardware that claims to generate more than 6 times as much profits as the product of its main competitor mining giant Bitmain. I am right. This is a response to that one. It's going to kill the GPU mining on this network. They don't do something about it now, or start planning to do something before this ASIC comes out onto it. Because otherwise, I'm going to basically have to take the few GPUs that I have pointed at Ethereum and point them at something that ASICs are not just decimating. I mean, I understand the ASICs are going to be the way of the future, or but to see it happen so quickly, it's just it's bad. And it's good to see that there are people out there that are looking for ways to slow down these big giants from just innovating. Following the news and citing concerns regarding the lack of action taken by developers to stop the growing use of ASICs on the network, which many believe would effectively price out smaller miners, some proponents called for an all-out strike by GPU miners. One GitHub user going by mdaria510 said, "The only plausible way forward for GPU miners is to go on strike and commit to continuing to mine the existing chain and undermine the utility of Ethereum and force compromise." In support of this sentiment, by a user by the name of Monero Crusher added the request from the Ethereum mining community to implement an ASIC-resistant measure have been blatantly ignored, and promised to join the revolt with their hash power. Still in the wake of the outcry, certain Ethereum developers have stated that code changes, targets, and block the growing number of ASICs could perhaps be implemented as a part of a system-wide network upgrade. The algorithm in question is part of the Ethereum Improvement Protocol, EIP, dubbed ProgPOW. As detailed by CoinDesk, ProgPOW is aimed at minimizing ASIC mining on a platform by minimizing the effectiveness of GPU-specific traits such as memory. But most developers believe that the upgrade would need to be executed only after Constantinople. The network's forthcoming hard fork upgrade that's slated for October or November this year. Speaking on GitHub, Martin Holst-Sween, security officer for the Ethereum Foundation, wrote, "I do not think we should cram it into Constantinople," he said. "The implement of the algorithm is one aspect, but there are other things that need to be done to ensure a switch goes smoothly, and those things need testing. My opinion is that we should consider a dedicated proof of work switching hard fork shortly after Constantinople." So he's sitting there saying leave the ASICs alone for the time being and get to work on the program that they're actually already writing and make sure that that's done right before you start trying to combat the ASIC miners. That's kind of a double-edged sword. It depends on what side of the fence you want to argue it from. It sounds like he's not saying no, he just wants to get done with the initial work. I commend a man who wants to get done with his job first. Even so, there are signs that GPU miners aren't willing to wait. Described as playing with fire by Reddit commentator Bitmain, some had voiced concern that without immediate action, Ethereum may fall prey to the whims and wishes of a centralized population of ASIC miners. Though not a reality just yet, their mere existence of ASIC miners on Ethereum, coupled with the more recent development of even stronger ASICs, have been enough for GPU mining advocates to demand action by the developers community, and soon. Labeling it a very high threatening threat against Ethereum, a user going by the handle of GFunkSound going on GitHub contended, "We have many instances of ASICs completely dominating a coin and forcing them to make policy decisions at gunpoint. And I don't even think Ethereum core devs want to put themselves into that situation. Indeed, they probably wouldn't want to, but I don't know if I really agree with that guy saying that the ASICs are basically demanding them to do things one way. I think it's just more or less that once the ASICs came on board, they were the only ones left, and they had to kind of make the network suited to the ASIC needs to be able to secure their network. I mean, look at Bitcoin. I mean, you're not seeing any GPU miners sitting there complaining how centralized Bitcoin is with all the ASICs. Try to put your GPU rigs on the Bitcoin. Ain't gonna work. Indeed, some argue that the event of ASIC-dominated platform miners would prove powerful enough to halt or significantly delay progress on Ethereum's shift to proof of stake, a consensus that does away with energy-sensitive mining altogether. Which, for anybody who's wanting to do GPU mining, that whole proof of stake is going to wipe you out. So whether you are an ASIC miner or a GPU miner, Ethereum in the long run is going to shut the door on to all the people who have been supporting their networks thus such far. With this having been the goal set out in the early days of the network creation by the founders, Vitalik Buterin, GitHub user Snab adds that centralization by miners will force the ETH team to ultimately cater to more ASIC miners, demanded that the original neutral version that it was founded upon. Allegations of censorship have also emerged. Monero Crusher, for instance, accused Bitmain and other manufacturers of using social media bots to downvote every critical ASIC post. Having also made claims to being censored, Monero Crusher noticed his original anti-ASIC Reddit threat had initially been removed just as it had started gaining traction. And that's what happens when you start posting stuff in where there's centralized control. people can make a decision and just unplug it. Developers, though, have pushed back on this accusation. Ethereum client's developer Afri Shinoden told CoinDesk that the Reddit thread in question had been mistakenly removed by a fellow mediator, and that there was no deliberate censoring going on. Sure. No deliberate, as they would say at this point, now that that original post was gone. Is that shots fired at this point? Don't know. And according to an independent Ethereum developer, AlexKnopf, the chatter on Reddit seen in the past few days have been way too emotional to actually be going anywhere useful. Yet, other developers have taken more open-minded positions on the notion of ASIC resistance focus on hard fork. Ethereum developer Nick Johnson contended that after speaking with the main proponents behind Prog POW, which he is supportive of the proposal's goals, I'm also fairly confident that it is useful and necessary to change to preserve the decentralization of the Ethereum mining until POS is ready to be rolled out, he told CoinDesk. Yeah, I mean, I can get that. But I think if you sit there and you get rid of all the ASIC miners at this point, you're going to watch a real big drop of hash power and network security. So again, this one's going to be a double-edged sword, I think, on their end, and I think the developers see this. So it's probably splitting them a little bit on how they really want to roll this out, because they probably want to have it all rolled out. They just don't want to piss anybody off in the meantime, it looks like. At the same time, developers like Shinoden are cautious about making any hasty implements, saying that they are rushing into changes, which would both risk security and stability of the network. Exactly what I was just saying. You get rid of too much, and you're just asking for a bigger can of worms that you're going to open up. So you really can't cater to everybody. You can't make everybody happy all the time, as they say. Troughton also reiterated on GitHub that the matter of implementation of Prog POW would certainly not be considered in the time of Constantinople, saying, "We have been working on Constantinople for 11 months now, and the hard fork is final. Any other proposal, however small it is, has to go into the next hard fork." So they're basically saying that the ASIC miners are going to stay until they get the hard fork underway. After they get the hard fork underway, and they're going to basically be going to the POS proof of stake. Once they go to proof of stake, any of the ASIC miners that are only wanting to mine Ethereum are basically going to have glorified doorstep. To this, Johnson agreed, saying that Constantinople is pretty much finalized now. Still, he left a door open for the implementation shortly afterwards, reiterating that no other proposed proof of work change is as well thought out, likely to succeed as Prog POW. On the other hand, developers such as Troughton see a longer time on the horizon ahead, predicting that the proposal will take at least 12 months from implementation, testing to main network deployment. So it looks like the developers are a little tore up on how they want to get rid of the ASICs. They all want to get rid of them. They just don't know how to. And a few of them looks like they also realize that if they get rid of all of them like that, there's not going to be enough network security, because all of us miners are what gives that network its security. We're validating it. We're doing the work to make sure that the security is of the utmost. So if they just get rid of all the ASICs, that's going to be a lot of hashing power that's going to be lost. They're not sure exactly how much, but there are a lot of people out there that have a lot of ASIC miners that are on the Ethereum network. And it looks like they're not so much worried about the Bitmain ones, because again, they're just highly glorified GPU rigs that are power efficient. They're more worried, it looks like, of the new ones that are going to be coming out, it looks like, for next year. That's going to be like 4 times what the ASIC miners are already on the network. So it's going to go from an ASIC miner being a drop in a bucket on the Ethereum network to being ASIC miners now dominate the network. And with that being said, put your comments down and below what you guys think. And while you're down there, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and hit the subscribe. All that stuff helps me out. And with that being said, may your hash rates be high and your watts be low. I'll see you guys next time.